Near mint condition, the home of collected editions. Oh my gosh, look at that panel of Batman. You have the absolute, you have the deluxe. DC Comics firing on all cylinders. How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my overview of the Legion of Superheroes, the Curse Deluxe Edition. We're going to be looking at the new printing of this book. So, join me. And welcome back, everybody. So what we're looking at here is the latest printing of the Legion of Superheroes, The Curse, the Deluxe Edition. Now, this is the stories that follow up the events of the Great Darkness Saga. So if you have them on your shelf, here's the way that it would go. So Legion of Superheroes, The Curse, the Deluxe Edition, Paul Levitz, Keith Giffen, and the DC logo down there with Superboy on the spine, and then of course the front of the book, and Paul Levitz, Keith Giffen, Legion of Superheroes, The Curse, the Deluxe Edition, and then the back of the book right here, and showcasing the comics that are going to be collected inside of this Deluxe Edition. The retail price of this is $49.99. Now, what I want to do is take this dust jacket off. This is from issue 300, I believe. It just has new colors on it. And then you have this piece right here, and the bio on Paul Levitz and Keith Giffen. And it's interesting. That's the piece that you have here. I don't have the original printing. For some reason, I never picked it up. I thought I had it, so I was going to do a comparison, but that's pretty cool. But no, I did not. So Legion of Superheroes, The Curse, the Deluxe Edition, the spine of the book with some of that Kirby influence crackle. So what could be in the back? Ha ha ha! Thus is my curse fulfilled. Oh, that's Darkseid. That's in my head. That's not the way that Darkseid sounds at all. Who was it that did his voice? Was it Michael Ironside? I think it was Michael Ironside in the Superman animated cartoon. Like that. That's the way Darkseid should sound. All right, we are going to crack this Deluxe Edition open and talk about the type of stories that are found in here that are so different than the Great Darkness Saga. And, of course, look at the build and see what kind of extras we have, if any. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up. Here's your end sheets and that image of Darkseid again. Legion of Superheroes, title page, The Curse, the Deluxe Edition. And very important here are the collection credits here for all of the writers and artists that worked on this book. However, it is broken down over here by the table of contents, where you're going to find each of these stories and, of course, where they were originally published. But here's where you kind of get the breakdown of who wrote it, who was the penciler, the plotter, the inker, the letterer, and the colorist. For the most part, the majority of this, of course, goes to the top billing of Keith Giffen and also Paul Levitz. But there are other names in here, like the inker Larry Malstead, who I think is a phenomenal inker for somebody like Keith Giffen. You also get artwork in here from like Pat Broderick, and oh my gosh, one of my favorites, Gene Colan, does some of the beautiful painted pencils in here. And there is numbers down here, so just wanted to make sure that let you know that there are page numbers so you can jump around in case you're curious about the stories found in here, particular ones, if you will. So collected in here is Legion of Superheroes 297 to 313, Legion of Superheroes Annuals 2 and 3. So that's what's collected in here. This is the immediate follow-up to the Great Darkness Saga. The book has 544 pages and retails for $49.99. There was a previous printing of this back, I believe, in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And like I said, I thought I got it, but apparently I didn't. Now, even though the stories are older, I don't want to say old because they're younger than I am, originally published, I think they tell you the year when they were originally published. They do not. Interesting. I really thought they did. But what we're looking at here are comics that were originally published back in 1983 to 1984. That's the era we're looking at. Because if the other one was 81 and 82, then this is probably 83 and 84. Now, spoilers, I guess, in case you're not familiar with this and you just want to go into it completely blind or put me on mute. But I do have to kind of give you an idea of what this is. This is a unique collection because this is a lot different than the Great Darkness Saga. The Great Darkness Saga, not every bit of it, but the last part of it was this overall arch that they were building for. Like, they were building up a story where it is revealed eventually that Darkseid is the one that was behind everything. Whereas here, it's individual stories collected about different characters, and the curse doesn't even really happen. Like, the actual title of the book doesn't really happen until you get to the very end, until you get to annual number 3. So this gives you a taste of what Legion of Superheroes was really like, focusing on different characters. I mean, we are talking about a cast of over 45 different members, and focusing on different characters in each issue. I like that idea. I like that. For example, let me give you the example. Okay, so this issue right here, the very first issue that kicks it off, 297, focuses on Cosmic Boy, and he's having to deal with this aftermath of a terrorist attack that has killed his mother. So he wants revenge. So he's kind of snapping and using his power very much like Magneto in a way, is trying to kill these guys that are responsible, these terrorists that are responsible for killing his mother. Now, they've hurt other people in his family, they've hurt other friends of his, but he holds them responsible, especially when he finds out that his mom dies. You get a small little bit of what happened previously, and I love that they kept the editor's note, letting you know where you can find them, those particular issues. But when he finds out his mom dies, he snaps, and he goes back there to go and kill these guys. So it's up to the Legion of Superheroes, his friends, to go and help him, like, control his anger. And just as he's about to snap, he stops himself, and he's like, no, that will not, I can't do that, not in my mother's name. So the Legion are like, woo, man, good thing he pulled through. Yeah, man, that's awesome. He figured it out himself. And then you see this, like, smile right here. Very daunting, very, like, you expect the next issue to be a follow-up to that. Okay, is Cosmic Boy going bad? But no, what they decide to do instead is focus on some returning characters that the Legion of Superheroes thought were dead, and focusing on other members of the Legion, like Wildfire and Dawnstar, who have this romantic relationship building, even though he's just a being of pure energy. You have White Witch here, you've got the Invisible Kid, and this is the group of characters that the next few issues focuses on. Like, you have the White Witch facing off against, what is the coon's name? This guy right here, Karlach, the Champion. So you've got them facing off against that villain, and you think, okay, well, is that going to lead to issue 300? Meanwhile, Chameleon Boy is here talking to his dad, and yeah, these next 2 issues, you find the Invisible Kid fighting the original Invisible Kid. For somebody that didn't read a lot of Legion, I think for this collection here, in order for it to work, you have to make the readers care about these characters, and I think that's what they found. Keith Giffen and Paul Levitz really found that here. This magic, this chemistry that they both put together to make this wonderful book work. Because I love making fun of my friends, because that's what you do, right? My buddy Lars and my buddy Omnidog, they love the Legion, but there are some pure awesome stories in here and character growth that has happened for 300 issues. So after this, by the way, Shadow Lass decides to become Shadow Woman here, gets a haircut. We go to this issue. This is my very first Legion of Superheroes comic. Not because I bought it when it originally came out, but because this was gold right here. It was like gold, like a gold foil stamp on it, and I didn't know anything about the Legion other than them appearing in pages of, like, Superman from time to time, because I got into DC Comics during the 80s. So I thought, oh, here we go. This is a good way of reading it, and I found it at a flea market at Dr. Comics. That's right, when we had 10, I think this one was 10 cents. And no, there were 15 cents, and it's like buy 10 for $1. Oh my gosh, those were the days. And I bought this, and I hadn't read this. Oh my gosh, it's got to be decades because I've given that stuff away. And it just brought back memories of opening it up, not realizing what Legion of Superheroes was. I didn't know it was taking place in the future, and finding everything about it through these very pages. Like, you have the story here of Superboy showing up. By the way, this, reading it as an adult, is so cool because it's a flashback. It goes through, like, different eras of the Legion of Superheroes. It goes through many tales, untold tales, rather, I guess, of the Legion's past, featuring Superboy and Supergirl, and how the Legion helped them defeat Luthor. And also, this is when you get some classic artists like Kurt Swan that does some of the art through here. And this one here by James Searman, oh my gosh, this art is solid, featuring Mordru. Just great artwork. And again, I remember this. I remember his face. And I thought, when I was a kid, I was like, who is that? Is that Merlin? But you get to know this gigantic cast of characters through here. And you start immediately, gravitating to the ones that you enjoy. So, this is a quick little lineup as to who some of these characters are. Do they go from left to right? No, they do not. They go in alphabetical order? No, they don't. Okay. But anyway, this gives you the honor roll of the Legionnaires, even though I don't think this is all of them there. Then you have the Legion of Superheroes, issue 301. This one is a great issue because it immediately follows up what they were setting up in that Great Darkness saga with Chameleon Boy and dealing with not just his relationship with his father, but also the loss of his powers. So he can't shapeshift, and he's dealing with that loss. One of the other things that happens through here is Keith Giffen's art is going to start to change. So if you look at this right here, the way that it looks towards the beginning here, and you notice, I think it happens in like issue 307, 308, it becomes less detailed and more of like that cartoony art style that he went on to do for like Ambush Bug, or even the 5 years later arc. This is the annual right here, if I'm not mistaken, for the wedding issue. I think maybe I'm mistaken. No, it is. It is the wedding issue of Karate Kid and his love. I love that they added epilogues. They start adding epilogues through here. And even the last page of this is an epilogue. This is the Siege Perilous story. So by now, you're going to start seeing some changes in this art style, like I mentioned. It's going to be less detailed and more of that cartoony style. And I wonder how people felt about this back then. I wonder if people were still digging it, or if they were... This is a solo Starboy issue right here. Dig this. Man, this is so good. It's a spotlight on him. It's an individual Legionnaire, and it just retells the origin of Starboy. Now, for somebody that hadn't read a lot of Legion back in the day, I would have appreciated this, or I appreciate it now. I like Starboy because of the things that happened later on in Jeff Johns' JSA. So by the time you get to this issue right here, this, I think, from the beginning, it looks different. When you get to about halfway through the book, you'll start seeing the differences in the art. And back to what I was saying, I wonder how people felt about this back in the day when they notice a change in his artwork. But this story arc right here is awesome, by the way. This is probably, I assume they were trying to capture that magic again that they captured in the Darkness Saga by bringing these villains back. And these are some of the biggest villains they've had to face, at least in this collection, and that's Omen and Prophet. So it's a 3-part story right here. Or no, it's actually 4 parts. And again, art style is changing. So I wonder if people dug it, or if people even wrote letters, because unfortunately the letters pages are not collected in here. So I wonder if people even notice, or if they were like, what is going on with Keith Giffen's artwork? Is he trying something new? We get Karate Kid's honeymoon phase there interrupted. And it all leads into... Oh, actually, let's talk about this. The Gene Colan gas pencils here. Oh, this is such an awesome, unexpected little story back here. I'm a big fan of him. Just huge fan of Gene Colan. And this is the focusing on Dawnstar and Wildfire. 2 characters that have feelings for each other, and they're trying to figure things out because Wildfire, like I said, is a being of pure energy. And there's a really cool part at the very beginning where he disappears because he's just pure energy. This right here is this is the spotlight on Sunboy, and just how big of a player he is in the future. And then we get this issue right here, 313, which is the Legion of Superheroes playing the role of bodyguards for the President of Earth. And then we get to the annual. Annual number 3 is what is actually the Curse. And that's what this collection is called. And this here features artwork by Kurt Swan. So legendary artist Kurt Swan drawing these characters of the Legion of Superheroes. I don't know why they decided to use that for the art on board, but it does end with this promise of perhaps something going on with this baby. So two of the characters, I know the stories are old, but two of the characters end up having a baby in this issue. And there's a promise, perhaps, of what happened to the baby. Or maybe the other baby, if you will. And no extras. Like, absolutely no extras. It just goes into the end sheets there. So let's look at the... It is sewn binding, but it does have a excess glue right there. And printed in this glossy paper stock. Just a minimal bleed through happening. And as far as the way the book lays over, what better spread to show than the wedding of Karate Kid with Queen Projectra. So, minimal gutter loss is what's happening here. But that is the Legion of Superheroes, The Curse, the Deluxe Edition. So all your favorites are back here. Chameleon Boy, Colossal Boy, Cosmic Boy, Element Lad, Invisible Kid, Phantom Girl, Ultra Boy, The White Witch, Wildfire, even Superboy and Supergirl make an appearance through here. Mon-El, they're all here. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this deluxe edition, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this deluxe edition. In the comments down below, let me know if you are picking this up, if you're hoping one day we'll get Legion of Superheroes, all of it collected in an Omni format, or if you're waiting for this era to be collected in a DC Finest format. Any questions, leave them down below. Smash that like button on the way out. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.